welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so if I asked you to picture shea butter, chances are, you're visualizing a thick, creamy jar, right? Maybe next to your bathtub or on a changing table.
Yeah, that's the image most people have.
And you'd be right. I mean, partly. But you'd also be missing, well, quite a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe 1,000 years of history.
That's really the core finding from what we looked into today. Most of us, we know shea butter purely as this premium cosmetic ingredient, really effective, great for dry skin.
Definitely.
But this deep dive, it really shows that for centuries, right across West Africa, the uses of shea went way beyond just skin deep. It was actually a critical staple in the kitchen and in the medicine cabinet, too.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to kind of shatter that cosmetic-only view. We're going to extract the, surprising facts about shea's actual nutritional value, its traditional use as a cooking fat, believe it or not, and its powerful role as a holistic internal remedy. And the cultural weight, it's huge. Historically, it's revered as women's gold.
Yeah, that name, women's gold, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? About its economic importance, its societal role. Shea butter, it's extracted from the nuts of the Vitellaria paradoxa tree.
Right.
And it was, and actually still is in many places, just an indispensable treasure, providing essential fats and micronutrients in food alongside, its better-known uses for soothing and healing the body externally.
Okay, so let's unpack this and maybe pivot right away from the topical stuff just for a moment. If we are seriously considering this as a food, something safe to consume, a fat, what's actually in it? What did we find nutritionally in food-grade shea that was maybe surprising?
Well, what's fascinating is that the fat profile isn't, simple. It's primarily this complex mixture of essential fatty acids. The main ones, the major players, are stearic acid and oleic acid.
Okay.
And then you've got smaller but still really vital amounts of linoleic and palmitic acids, too.
Oleic acid. That sounds familiar. Isn't that the main thing in, olive oil?
Exactly. Yeah, you hear about it a lot with olive oil.
So how does that specific component, the oleic acid, add value when we actually eat shea butter?
Right. So oleic acid is a monounsaturated fat. And yes, it's absolutely the hero in lots of those heart-healthy oils. When you consume it, it's strongly linked with maintaining healthy cholesterol levels.
Oh, okay.
So in shea, it makes up a pretty big chunk of the fat content, which suggests, it has a real potential for supporting cardiovascular health, much like a good quality olive oil.
Okay, but hang on. If you look up the composition, don't you also see quite a high amount of stearic acid? Which, that's a saturated fat, right? So how does that square with the heart health benefits? Isn't saturated fat usually the thing we're told to, limit?
That's a really important question, actually, and it's a great example of how context really matters in nutrition. Stearic acid is a saturated fat, technically, but chemically, it behaves quite differently in the body compared to other saturated fats, like, say, palmitic acid.
Which is also in there, you said.
It is, yeah, but in smaller amounts. But the stearic acid studies generally show it tends to have a pretty neutral effect on cholesterol levels in humans.
Oh, interesting.
So, while it gives shea butter its solid texture at room temperature, its impact on the body seems much more benign than, many other saturated fats we consume.
Got it. So the takeaway is it's not just a basic fat. It's uniquely balanced in a way that can support wellness.
Yeah.
Is it just the fats, though, or are there other sort of powerhouse micronutrients packed in there?
Oh, it's definitely a complete package. Beyond those fatty acids, you see a really significant antioxidant and mineral load. Crucially, it's an excellent source of vitamins A and E.
Okay.
Vitamin A, vital for vision, immune function, and vitamin E, which is a really powerful anti-inflammatory. It helps fight that general oxidative stress in the body.
Right. Those are fairly common vitamins. But the sources we looked at kept pointing to one specific compound, something that really seems to set shea apart, giving it those serious medicinal properties we mentioned earlier.
Ah, yeah. That would almost certainly be the cinnamic acid esters. This is the compound or group of compounds, really, that makes shea truly unique among plant fats.
Cinnamic acid esters.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these esters are essentially natural anti-inflammatory agents. Think of them as nature's own soothing mechanism working both inside and out.
Wow.
And they even seem to possess some mild inherent UV protective qualities, which is interesting.
That is a huge revelation. But okay, now we absolutely have to address the elephant in the room here. We don't want listeners running off to scoop up their raw unrefined shea butter from the bathroom cabinet and, chucking it in their morning smoothie.
No, definitely not.
We need to be super clear about the safety distinction. Topical versus food grade.
Yes, this is a critical point, and the sources really emphasize this. The raw, unrefined shea butter typically sold for cosmetic use. It often has that kind of smoky aroma, maybe a slightly gritty texture.
I know the smell.
Yeah. And while it's perfectly safe for your skin, it's really not ideal for consumption. When we talk about eating it, we are specifically referring to food-grade shea. Sometimes it's called shea nut oil or highly refined shea butter.
So how is it refined? What's the difference in the processing that makes it, well, palatable and safe to eat?
Typically, the food-grade version has gone through specific steps, things like refining, sometimes bleaching, and often deodorizing. These steps remove impurities, they neutralize that strong, nutty, sometimes smoky smell, and they stabilize it for cooking, especially cooking at higher heats.
Okay.
Now, historically, traditional extraction methods often produced an oil that was suitable for cooking, but modern manufacturing usually separates the processes quite clearly. Bottom line, if a label doesn't specifically say food grade, just stick to using it externally.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so knowing that food-grade shea is safely and traditionally consumed, what were the, say, 5 major holistic health benefits we found? Bridging that internal consumption with the external application.
Right. When you look at it holistically, shea offers some pretty impressive systemic benefits. Let's start with the consumption side. Benefit number 1. Cardiovascular support. As we mentioned, consuming that high oleic acid content seems to actively support cardiovascular function, mostly by helping manage lipid profiles, cholesterol levels, and promoting healthy circulation.
And that anti-inflammatory power must be benefit number 2 then, since you said those cinnamic acid esters work both internally and externally.
Correct. Yeah, benefit number 2 is profound anti-inflammatory action. Internally, these esters can help soothe systemic inflammation, which, is often the root cause of many chronic conditions. And externally, this translates directly into relief from things like joint pain, swelling, the discomfort linked with arthritis, which is exactly why traditional healers valued it so highly for topical rubs and things.
Okay, so moving to the external uses, the ones most people are familiar with, but now we kind of understand why it works so well.
Exactly. So benefit number 3 is powerful skin and wound healing. That unique blend of fatty acids, it deeply mimics the skin's natural oils, its sebum.
Right.
This lets the butter not just sit on the surface and moisturize, but actually penetrate deeply. It soothes major irritation and actively promotes cell turnover and healing. That's why it's so effective for chronic stuff like eczema, really severe dryness, and even reducing the appearance of scars over time.
I see it listed all the time as a key ingredient in hair treatments too. So that must be benefit number 4.
It is, yeah, hair strength and protection. And it's effective because, again, it doesn't just coat the hair cuticle like some oils. She seems to have the ability to actually penetrate the hair shaft itself.
Oh, okay.
Which means it seals in moisture from the inside out. This can dramatically prevent breakage, especially in brittle or damaged hair. And it acts as a kind of natural shield against damage from heat styling and even the sun's UV rays.
Makes sense. And finally, number 5. Tying it back to its ancient purpose as a primary cooking fat.
Benefit number 5 is digestive wellness and sustained energy. Traditionally, using shea oil or butter in soups and stews was a fundamental way to enrich the diet. It provided a really necessary source of energy. And importantly, because of its chemical structure, particularly that stearic acid effect we talked about, it performs this function without the harmful health effects you get from unhealthy trans fats often found in other processed vegetable oils.
Right. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Because we move from the science and the theory to specific, usable, and honestly kind of delicious-sounding examples from the sources. The culinary application is genuinely surprising for most people.
It really is surprising how versatile it can be, especially as a functional substitute in things. For instance, the sources offered a recipe for a shea-infused herbal tea, which sounds a bit odd at first, but it's an incredible way to ingest those benefits easily, daily.
How does that work, though? Does it just float on top like an oil slick?
No, actually, it acts almost like a healthy creamer if you use just a small amount. You simply add about a 1/4 teaspoon of food-grade shea oil. The liquid oil form works well here into a cup of warm herbal tea.
Like chamomile or ginger, you said.
Yeah, chamomile or ginger work beautifully. The small amount just adds this luxurious creaminess and allows you to ingest those healthy fats and nutrients really easily. It's sort of reminiscent of those butter coffees or MCT oil coffees that are popular, but using this powerhouse plant fat instead.
Huh. Okay, I might have to try that. And then there's the other culinary surprise, the one that challenges, well, one of the biggest staples in modern kitchens, chocolate. Tell us about the Shea chocolate spread.
Right. Well, shea butter is actually already used commercially sometimes as a sustainable alternative to cocoa butter in chocolate making, but you can replicate this idea easily at home. The recipe is pretty simple. You melt about 2 tablespoons of food-grade shea butter. Gently, you don't want to scorch it. Once it's liquid, you stir in maybe 2 tablespoons of good quality cocoa powder, a natural sweetener honey or maple syrup work, and maybe a pinch of cinnamon or vanilla extract for flavor.
Hmm.
Then, as it cools, the shea butter solidifies again, just like cocoa butter would, creating this really rich, decadent, spreadable consistency. And the bonus is it delivers those healthy fats instead of just, refined sugars and less healthy fats.
That sounds fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's quickly pivot back to the DIY applications, because now we kind of understand the why behind their effectiveness. What are some essential remedies we can quickly whip up at home?
Yeah, the fact that it combines so easily with other accessible oils makes it perfect for DIY projects. For tackling really extreme issues like severely dry skin or cracked heels, you can make a simple but really concentrated healing salve.
What's the formula for that one? What do we need?
Super easy. You take about 3 tablespoons of raw shea butter. The cosmetic kind is fine here, obviously. Melt it gently with 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. The coconut oil helps with absorption and adds its own benefits.
Okay.
Once it's melted, take it off the heat, then stir in maybe 6 drops of lavender essential oil that adds a nice calming scent and has its own skin benefits. Then just pour it into a small tin or jar and let it solidify. It locks in moisture way better than most commercial lotions.
Great. And for hair health, that whipped moisturizer sounded really decadent, but also effective, especially, you said, for hair prone to breakage.
Oh, yeah. The whipped texture makes it much easier to apply and less heavy. It's all about maximizing its ability to penetrate. You take about half a cup of raw shea butter
Okay.
and just use a hand mixer, like you're making frosting. Whip it vigorously until it gets really light and airy, almost like a marshmallow fluff texture.
Right.
Then, while you're still whipping slowly, drizzle in about 2 tablespoons of a lighter carrier oil, jojoba oil, or even olive oil works well. And maybe add 1 teaspoon of vitamin E oil for an extra antioxidant kick.
Ah, good tip.
Yeah, it creates this fluffy powerhouse sealant that you can apply to damp hair ends or use as a scalp treatment.
Nice. And finally, something everyone uses daily, or should use daily, a simple hydrating lip balm.
That's probably the easiest one of all to make. It's a really straightforward combination, gives you fantastic, long-lasting hydration. Basically, 2 tablespoons of shea butter, 1 tablespoon of beeswax pellets. The beeswax provides that solid structure and protective barrier.
Right, keeps it from melting in your pocket.
Exactly. And 1 tablespoon of a nice liquid oil like almond oil or jojoba oil. Melt those 3 ingredients together gently in a double boiler or microwave in short bursts. Stir well, pour into little lip balm tubes or pots, and just let them set up. It's immediate natural relief for chapped lips, way better than most store-bought stuff.
Okay, fantastic. Really practical tips there.
Yeah.
So wrapping this all up, what does this all really mean for you, the listener?
I think the core takeaway is crystal clear, isn't it? Shea is far, far from being just a simple beauty product you find in the bath aisle.
Absolutely.
It is a supremely versatile gift from nature, a truly holistic, well, superfood isn't too strong a word maybe, and a powerful, multi-purpose, natural healer.
Exactly right. And when you connect its history, that whole women's gold idea, with the deep scientific analysis of what's actually in it, the unique fatty acid profile, the vitamins A and E, those crucial cinnamic acid esters, it just reinforces the idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That often the most powerful remedies, the most nourishing ingredients are the ones that have been right under our noses all along, providing this continuous support for centuries, both internally and externally. Knowledge is really most valuable when we understand it fully and can actually apply it across all aspects of our wellness. Absolutely well said. And that leaves us, and leaves you, with a provocative thought to maybe mull over. Knowing that something as seemingly familiar as shea butter has this incredibly deep, often overlooked nutritional and medicinal history, well, how many other common kitchen or cosmetic ingredients are similarly hiding these centuries-old powerful applications, uses that maybe we've simply dismissed or forgotten about in our busy, kind of segmented modern world?
It's a great question.
Something to think about. We'll leave you with that until our next deep dive.